financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is solving mortgage problems with Chapter 13 and other goodies.
Ooh, other goodies. Does that mean like there's treats? Will there be chocolate?
There's coffee. Good morning, Brian Small.
Good morning. I'd rather have chocolate.
The only treat I like in the morning is coffee.
Chocolate.
And I control the treat. Jeffrey Linden, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. As long as it's not candy corn.
Kelsey
Candy corn is an
Esco.
abomination.
Oh, sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to interrupt your soliloquy on
They actually
candy
can't
corn.
even make candy corn anymore.
I don't know why we're talking about candy corn, because Valentine's was a month ago. Kelsey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Honestly, the only reason I'm here is because I was promised there would be treats, and so I
But
think
not candy corn.
correct. Well, obviously,
Well,
so I
candy
think I need to
corn
leave.
is-
Candy corn has
is
red.
Halloween,
Yeah, but it
actually.
has red dye number 2. They might not be making candy corn again in the future because they outlawed
To
red
make
dye
the
number
yellow?
2.
I mean, where does... No, I mean...
Red.
there's-
Red. There's
red
red.
in candy
See,
corn?
There is.
I was
Make the
correct
orange.
when I introduced the show and said Chapter 13 and other goodies.
There you go.
We're focusing on the goodies.
Focus,
We don't want to talk about
focus.
Chapter 13.
All right, so before we go to Chapter 13, for the 7,043rd time, I want to remind everyone of the 3-point retirement plan, because that's the ultimate goal here.
Have we done 7,043 shows? I don't think so.
No, but I've repeated
Dave
it two,
would be
three
like
times in each
really,
show.
really old by now, and he says he's.
Dave
old.
might know the exact number of shows we did, but I would rather talk about the 3-point retirement plan.
Okay, how many points are there to it?
Own your home free and clear. 0 debt, cash in the bank.
That was 3. There were 3 points to it.
I'm reading constantly about baby boomers in retirement crisis.
Because they don't own their own home.
They're basically retiring with Social Security, a short-term buyout from whatever job they have, paying them $50,000 to $100,000,
From
and they
Doge?
have this thought process that they'll be able to survive. What were you saying?
I said from Doge.
I don't
Buyout.
understand.
No, that's a different buyout. Different
That's the
one.
federal
It's
buyout
okay.
Elon Musk was trying to get the federal employees to take. Let's move on.
Got it. Well, that's the same
But
thing.
no, it's the
too.
same problem,
That's
though.
the same problem.
When you take a buyout from any company and you are not prepared to retire, the question is were you forced out and therefore you took the buyout because you had no choice? Or did you say, I think I can make it without having a plan to get to the point where your house is paid in full, you have money in the bank, and you have no debt? Do you remember when General Motors many years ago was offering the $100,000 and $150,000 buyouts?
I mean, they're periodically still doing it,
Right.
but yeah, I remember
So
the big one.
What was happening then was there was a whole lot of employees that took this buyout because they figured that they weren't going to have a job the next day. And they were correct. They weren't going to have a job, so they took the buyout. But the problem is instead of utilizing that money efficiently,
They bought pizza places.
they bought pizza places.
I remember you telling me.
And they didn't know how to run a pizza place. They knew how to make a car. And so a lot of those pizza
So people
places
came
went out
in
of
to the pizza place, and they were served a carburetor.
Yeah, pretty much. But and then
Or a carburetor.
the money
That's probably tasty.
went away really fast, and they were still left with a mortgage on their home.
And how old
A
are
whole-
they?
Well, at that point, they're in their, this group of people
Late
that took those
50s?
buyouts, they were in their late 50s. So they're not able to reach their pension yet because some of those people still had pensions coming to them. They weren't able to, they didn't have 401ks because they were relying upon the
And they're
pension
too
that
young
they're going
for
to retire
Social
with.
Security.
And
Unless they take it
unfortunately,
62.
And unfortunately, when you reach your mid-50s, finding a job to replace
So what
the
have they
job.
done?
A lot of people have been unemployed, and they end up filing, a lot of people lost their homes and filed Chapter 7. So when you are facing this forced retirement or forced buyout situation, don't just
Jump.
take it willy-nilly. Evaluate it. Come in and let's look
I
at
mean,
your
it
situation.
may make sense. If you feel as though your job is not going to be there, take the buyout, but don't take the buyout on the premise that you're going to retire, or on the premise that you're going to take that money and put it into a pizza place and try and successfully run a business that you really know nothing about. Instead, invest that money and find another job, and then schedule your retirement
that's the problem.
accordingly.
It's easier said than done to find that other job when you're the problem. One of the biggest problems when people are looking for that other job and they're in their mid-50s and they'd already reached the peak of their earning capacity or nearly before they retired. Now they go out into the workforce and they're saying, well, I was making $125,000 a year.
Right.
I need to make $125,000 a year. That is unlikely to happen. And what I see people doing instead is they will keep looking for that $125,000 a year job
and never find it.
and never take the $60,000 a year job that is
get them-
offering them employment.
And health insurance.
Take the
and
60,
something
Take the
else.
and then
60 and
keep your
keep
eyes
looking.
open for another job.
Yeah, because there's an old adage, it's always easier to find a job if you have a job. So that's part of the when you get the buyout situation. And then we can address your debt service and still try to get you to that 3-point retirement plan. Own your own home, have no debt, and
So we talked about the
have some money in the
retirement
bank.
component of that, and I agree. But the other component of it is, take that aside. The other problem that people make is they're continuing to carry credit card debt. They're continuing to carry their mortgage into retirement. You need to accelerate your mortgage payments while you're working so that the house is paid off before you retire. And the credit card debt is simply cancer to your financial well-being. If you continue to carry the credit card debt, paying that interest, giving away that money, you're never going to make it. And we'll stay on that point when we come back from the break.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
So, how old should your grandsons be before they can spend their inheritance on their own?
Thanks, Grandma. Yeah, thanks, Grandma. This car's awesome. Thanks, Grandpa. We got 2.
35. You've worked hard your whole life to create a lasting legacy for your heirs. Let Samasco Law help you make the right decisions to protect the ones you love. Samasco Law, protecting what means most, because that's what we do.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so right on that point, if you got, just take a simple number. If you have $100,000 of credit card debt, which is that like an insane number, Brian?
It's not an insane number. But I will tell you that I'm seeing 60% of the people that walk through the door hovering between $40,000 and $60,000
So let's
of
take
credit
50.
card debt.
All right, so $50,000 of credit card debt, and let's discount the interest rate to 20%, because it's really higher, right?
$50,000 worth of credit card debt has a minimum monthly payment of approximately $1,500 a month.
$1,500 a month. Your interest is $10,000 a year. So when you're making that $1,500 a month, if you did that for 12 months, that's $18,000 a year. So you'd think the principal would go down, at least on the credit card.
At the minimum monthly payment on the credit cards, which is what most people in that, when you're carrying $50,000 of credit card debt, most people are just paying the minimum.
Well, if it's $1,500 a month times 12, that's $18,000.
Yeah,
so it's $18,000 and the interest is 10. So on my numbers, your principal would go down $8,000 unless I'm missing my math.
Your principal doesn't go down.
Why?
3 reasons. 1, people don't stop using the credit card. Okay?
What's that called?
Why don't you tell me?
No.
Does anybody else remember what that's called?
Oh, the credit card trap.
Yes, right. Very good.
So, when you're in the credit card trap...
Why are you in the credit card trap?
Because you're out spending your means.
Because it's a trap.
Yeah, because if you make the minimum payment of the $1,500 and you pay your utilities and you pay the mortgage payment, at the end of that point, you have $4 left in your checking account to get to the next payroll. So what do you do for food between then?
You charge it on your credit card.
So I got $15,000 more fat on my credit card now.
Here's the thing. You're not right about what paying down the principal. If you look at the reality of a credit card, if you just pay the minimum monthly payments, it will take, at the average of 24% interest on a credit card, it will take between 9 and 14 years to pay the minimum monthly payment.
I totally understand.
That's if you stop using it.
But just to set the record straight.
You'll never pay it off if you keep using it.
Just to set the record straight. I'm not wrong on my math.
I understand.
Because 10,000 times 20%, or 50,000 times 20% is 10,000 in interest, and 1,500 times 12 is 1,800. What's wrong is you don't get 20% right now, and a lot of the cards don't require 3%, they only require 2.5%. And if the minimum monthly payment is lower, then the amount of principal you're paying goes down to almost nothing, and then you end up.
You'll make your $100 payment, and you will have effectually paid off $15 of principal,
right.
And $85
I don't know
of
one
the interest.
person that was ever able to just increase the amount of their monthly payment by a little bit to get the credit card paid off, or who was making the minimum monthly payment and ever said that the balance went away. Because you're in the credit card trap there because you don't have the money
You don't have
to
the
pay your
disposable
bills.
cash. So, but that's where budget management could come in, helping you find the money you're wasting in your budget so that you can, because there's a tool on your credit card statement that specifically shows you that if you pay the minimum monthly payment, if you pay this payment, which is basically double your minimum monthly payment, for 3 years, you will pay off your credit card. Every single statement on a consumer credit card has that box on it. And nobody can do it.
I feel like we're oversimplifying the issue, though, because it is, obviously you want to get out of the credit card trap. The credit card trap is bad. We are in a cost of living crisis right now. Right? And as easy as it is to say, well, let's take a look at your budget and cut the fat. What about people who already cut the fat every place it could be, but now they're faced with an issue of, well, my cheapest option to buy food, right? Eggs and rice, it's not there anymore.
Because eggs are $5 a dozen.
Exactly. And I can't imagine that when this show airs, the price of eggs will go down. It's only set to go up, right? And so
bird flu.
Maybe you have to stop eating eggs.
But what are people supposed to do?
Taco
right?
Bell.
So it's funny you say that.
Taco Bell is not cheap.
I haven't been there in a while. Has it gone up?
My fiance had a friend while he was in the Navy who was in $10,000 worth of credit card debt plus trapped in a payday loan.
Which is the worst.
Oh, payday loans are the worst.
All
Before
of it
you take out a
combined,
payday loan,
absolutely cancer.
just go ahead and just sell everything you own, because you'll never own anything anyway after you take out a payday loan.
And so ultimately, he sat down with this friend and said, all right, we got to trim the fat on the budget. The guy was spending $4,000 on Taco Bell every single month.
$4,000 in 1 month?
Yes, in 1 month on Taco Bell, right? But what we're talking about now, it's not this,
That's more than $100 a day.
It's insane. But we're not talking about, the
a lot
young,
of tacos.
dumb guy who's just, a single guy living on his own for the first time.
What, can I just ask, was this a thin guy?
It was not. It could not have been a thin guy.
He was jacked. He was jacked. But we're talking about people who, it's not the guy who just moved out and joined the Navy and has this, little bit of income for the first time. It's people who have been working their budgets and trying to cut the fat and trying to, pay down their credit cards and trying to do it all. But what are they supposed to do?
I disagree with you, because the people that come in and see me, they say that they've been working their budget, okay? And yet, I'm going to tell you that the wife is still spending $120 a month getting her nails done. The hair is $150 a month.
This is kind of where we differ.
Starbucks.
Because you're doing the dissection on the, all right, you're trying to get out of debt level of people's finances. I'm doing the dissection on your spouse needs long-term care. We need to dissect your finances for Medicaid. Most of the people I see who are having these big amounts of debt
in the elder mode
without having the income to match are people on fixed income, people whose Social Security wasn't going to go as far as they initially thought, people who, they took that buyout and they didn't realize that they would have to invest so irresponsibly.
You have two different segments.
Which gets you
the
back
elderly, which have financial and debt problems, and you have the young and middle aged that also have their problem.
Which brings you back to the
We're not gonna
3-point
do it
retirement plan.
until we get to the break.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
If your loved one is struggling with age-related issues, let our family help your family. Call Simasko Law now. We're family-owned and growing. Meet Joe Frizard and Kelsey Simasko, our newest superstars. We'll handle your issues with care, compassion, and dedication. At Simasko Law, we'll leave no stone unturned until your family is protected for the long term. We'll walk together. That's what families do. Simasko Law. Protect what matters.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
So we've got the elderly problem, we've got the middle-aged problem, you got
Which,
the young
as I was
problem.
starting to say before the break, brings us back to the 3-point retirement plan. And one of the key
Kelly,
components...
your clients are beyond
Kelly.
it. They're already retired, and they're looking for Medicaid because they're in the nursing home, and they may still have not paid off the mortgage, and they may still have some credit card debt. We can't solve that problem for a retirement basis, but we can eliminate the debt. But on the 55-year-old,
getting rid of the debt, having no debt,
to take action.
So the solutions, right? We talked about all the problems.
What are the solutions?
So let's quickly look at them. There's Chapter 7 bankruptcy, there's Chapter 13 bankruptcy, there's debt resolution, and there's budget management. Those are the key components in the big picture of getting out of debt. Which tool in the toolbox works right for the client? And that's where, I know I've said this before, the problem is individual to the individual, and the solution is individual to the individual. But what does each one of those do? Chapter 7 bankruptcy is debt elimination bankruptcy. It wipes out the debt, it gives you a fresh start. In order to qualify for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you generally look at your income and expenses, and if your expenses equal to or exceed your income, and your phone isn't ringing in the middle of the show.
No, it's the bankruptcy fairies are coming to talk to us.
So that's a very smooth and relaxing tone for the phone. So it kind of has me like in the right mood.
So anyway, if your income exceeds or equals what you're spending, you're generally going to qualify for a Chapter 7, as long as, like, even a family of 4 making $130,000.
So if you qualify for a Chapter 7, what
we
does it
wipe out
mean?
the debt, get a fresh start, keep the assets that you own, get rid of the debt that you own.
How long does it take?
One and done. From the start to finish, it's about a 4-month process.
Okay, I said at the beginning of the show that we were going to talk about
Chapter 13. So Chapter 13.
So why would you do a 13 if you can do a 7?
Well, a lot of people these days have too much equity in their home because the values of homes have increased so much.
So if you have too much equity, you can't do a Chapter 7?
You can't do a Chapter 7 because there's only so much you can protect.
How much is too much?
Well, you can protect approximately $46,000 equity if you're a single person and below 65, or $68,000 equity if you're over 65 in your house, unless you're a married couple owning a house, tenancy by the entireties, in which case you can protect
Which is
all
the
of
normal way
equity.
a married couple owns a house.
You can protect all of the equity if you have no joint debt. Unfortunately, most married couples seem to have joint debt besides a mortgage. So it's again looking at each individual situation and seeing whether
All right,
we
so
can.
then if you're in a Chapter 13, how does that work?
We're going to restructure your debt. We're going to
But
pay
what if you're facing foreclosure?
again. We're going to restructure the debt. We're going to pay back what you can
No, can you
afford.
do a Chapter 7 to stop foreclosure?
It will temporarily stop a foreclosure, but it won't long-term stop the foreclosure.
So it's not a solution
It's
to a
not a
foreclosure.
solution. The Chapter 13 will allow you to catch the arrearage on your house that you've gotten into up over 5 years rather than the 5 minutes that the lender
What
wants.
if you're behind in your taxes?
Property taxes, income taxes.
Income tax is what I'm talking about.
Everything is available. So we got tax season coming up right now, and people are getting large tax bills, and they're like wondering.
So if I have a
where's-
$100,000 tax debt,
if
and
you
I'm
have a
3 months-
$10,000 tax debt,
I have $10,000 tax debt, and I'm behind on my mortgage,
Chapter 13
and
is
I
your
owe
solution.
$100,000 in credit card debt.
You might be able to pay
and
as
I
little
make,
as.
and I make $150,000 a year.
You're probably a Chapter 13 that pays back your taxes and your property taxes and your arrears on your mortgage and pays almost nothing back to your credit cards.
So the credit cards could zip.
Yeah,
So that's a good deal.
it is a good deal. Chapter 13 is a great opportunity to save your home, get rid of your tax debt, and work through the financial problem.
All right, so if I don't qualify for a 7, 13's there, then what about this? What about debt resolution?
Well, now you've
When
got
do you
debt
do that?
resolution and budget management.
Why would you do debt resolution
Debt
if you can do a Chapter 13?
Because sometimes in a Chapter 13, you have to pay back more money through a Chapter 13 than you would have to pay back if you negotiate a settlement on your credit cards.
Okay, so let me see if I got it right. First goal is, if I fit into the Chapter 7 box, go for it, it's good, but I can't do that if my house is about to be foreclosed.
Right?
Okay, if I don't fit into that box because I got too much equity in the home, I then go to box number 2 and I open that door, and then I see 2 more doors. The door on the left says Chapter 13, as long as I don't make too much money. But if I make too much money and I'm going to have to pay back too much to the credit card companies on the door on the left, that door slams in my face, and then I open the door on the right that says debt resolution.
Uh-huh.
Do I got it?
You do.
So I'm only going to get slammed in the face once in this scenario because it really hurt when I smashed my nose.
Let's hope so. And then, of
Hope
course,
it's not too hard, so
and-
you can find door number 2 to open.
And then, of course, the last
I can
is
feel it.
is budget management for those people that feel that they're a little out of control. They don't want to do a bankruptcy. They don't need to settle their debts. What they need is to get their household expenses under control so they can reach to the 3-point retirement plan.
But there's-
have your house paid in full, have no debt, and have some money in the bank.
And that's a wrap. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality. Thanks for tuning in.